Merry Christmas to everyone. Hi, my name's Jo. I'm Community Education Officer for the Isle of Axholme and Hatfield Chase Landscape Partnership. Some of you might already know me. Obviously this time of year we'd be doing some wreath making events, but as things have happened we are going on to an online version instead. So I'm going to give you some step-to-step guides on how to make your own Christmas wreath. So what we have here are the materials that you'll need to make your wreath. Obviously some willow. We've got some different greenery here, so we've got holly, ivy, some leylandi, and then some additional decorations. So we've got pine cones, boulder cones and orange. You might want to use some fairy lights or some ribbon in yours. But anyway, this is how you start off. You need to get your willow and very carefully start to bend it a little bit. Don't force it too much, just enough that you can see that it's starting to bend. This is so it's less likely to split when you make your circle. You might need a big space to start to do this, otherwise you'll end up getting it trapped. So you can see even with that little bit I was working on there, it's starting to bend round quite nicely. So the next thing you need to do is to start to make your wreath. I'm just going to make a small one for purposes of the video. You can always push your wreath into a circular shape once you've got a few wrapped round, but what you need to do is hold the thick end in one hand, thin one in the other, and start to weave it around, pulling your hand through and pulling the end round like that, and then keep twisting it round until you've used it up. Don't worry about all these little extra twigs that are sticking off. You can either bend them round and use a bit of wire to hold it in place, or you can just cut them off if you wish to. There we go. So I'm just going to push that end piece between there, and that should secure it in place. Because it looks a bit strange just being with one piece of willow, but you get the idea. Now if you don't want the thick end like that, you can just snip it off, which is what I'm going to do. And there we go. That's step one complete. So when you get your next piece of willow, you need to start the thick end just a little bit further round your wreath, and then go round, and then with your next piece you'd start a little bit further round again and keep going. That's so you have a consistent twig going round your whole wreath. It makes it a lot stronger as well. So I've just used one piece just to show you the idea. Next you would get some of your greenery. So I've got some leylandi here. You can push the end of the branch between the willow that you've weaved. This is entirely up to you yourselves. You can either bend it round like this and then cover the whole wreath, or you might choose to just use some smaller pieces and put them into the wreath itself. But for this purpose I'm just going to put it all the way around like that. And then I've just got some floristry wire here. You just cut a little piece off. Just to secure the end piece of that. Obviously with it being green it's quite good, it's well hidden within that greenery. Like that, so it's in place. Next then, again it's up to you how you want to design your wreath, but we have ivy that we could put in there as well. Again the same principle, use a little bit of forestry wire, tie it onto your wreath and then maybe a little bit of holly on top of that. Obviously be careful with the holly, it has got spiky edges. If you're doing this with your children, make sure that they either wear gloves or get you to do this part of the holly. So that's that section done. So now you can see a rough guide on how you can use the greenery around your wreath. I'm going to show you how you can use some of the extras that add a little bit more character to your wreath. So we have pine cones, we have alder cones, we've got slices of orange. Some people might want to use cinnamon sticks, it's entirely up to you. But if you're going to use a pine cone, the best way to use it is to get a piece of forestry wire and wrap it around the bottom layer of scales, and then you've got a piece of forestry wire sticking off there. You can feed it through your wreath and tie that around the back. Same with the alder cones, you can wrap a piece of wire around the bottom of it and then feed that through. So again, you can tie it around the back. Then if you'd like to use a slice of orange, you just push a bit of forestry wire through the fleshy part, leaving a little bit of forestry wire there so you can tie it around your wreath. Like so. Then if you find that you've got some gaps where there's a bit of wire showing, you could either put some more cones on there or get some singular leaves of ivy or a bit of holly just to cover over that little bit of wire showing. Or some people like to use a bit of ribbon to wrap around the bare wood, or some other people have put fairy lights in, which just looks really pretty. Again, like I said, it's entirely up to the individual person, but that's a very rough guide as to how to make a wreath. The last thing you would do is use a piece of string or twine or a piece of ribbon, tie it around the top just so that you can hang it from your front door, or it could be in your front room, or you could even use it as a centrepiece on your Christmas dinner on the table. And I hope you all have a very happy Christmas and a very creative day making your wreath, and hope to see you in 2021.